Peter Obi, the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, and Governor Alex Otti of Abia State have announced stakeholders meeting of the party. The Labour Party extended stakeholders meeting is slated to hold on Wednesday, 4th September at Banquet Hall, Government House, Umuahia. According to the Senior Special Assistant to Governor Alex Otti on Public Communication, Dodo Okafor, the meeting is aimed at building a stronger and better Labour Party. According to the meeting circular, the stakeholders for the meeting include the former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, Governor Alex Otti, former vice presidential candidate of the party, Dati Baba Ahmed, Julius Abure-led executives, senators and House of Representative members of the party, among others. It read, 3 representatives of the Nigerian Labour Congress who are members of the National Executive Council of the party, 3 representatives of the Trade Union Congress who are members of the National Executive Council of Labour Party, vice presidential candidate of the 2023 election, the Deputy Governor of Abia State, all serving and former senators who are members of the party, all serving and former senators of the House of Representatives who are members of the party, all serving members of Houses of Assemblies of States, 5 members of the Abure-led National Working Committee, and that is the National Chairman, Deputy National Chairman, Secretary, Woman Leader and Youth Leader, gubernatorial candidates of Edo and Ondo states, former gubernatorial candidates representing the 6 geopolitical zones as follows: Mr. Ken Pella, Delta State, Southwest; Mr. Badebo Rhodes Vivo, Lagos, Lagos State, South-South; Honorable Chijoke Edoga, Enugu State, Southeast; Mr. Jonathan Asake, Kaduna State, Northwest; Mr. Patrick Dakum, Plateau State, North Central; and Mr. Keftin Amunga, Gombe State, Northeast. Dr. Nelson, this move by Peter Obi and Alex Otti to call for a stakeholder meeting, if you're following Labour Party's story, you recall that Alex Otti had, gone to visit Julius Abure and made mention that it's time to hold a NEC meeting and probably dissolve the executives and run an election. And Julius Abure responded in anger and called for a press conference. And the National Working Committee of the Labour Party came out to even set up a disciplinary committee, saying that it is time they dig in their heels to punish recalcitrant members. And on the heels of that press conference, Alex Otti and Peter Obi now are insisting on calling a stakeholder meeting. What do you have to say about this?
The first thing that I will say is that the performance of the Labour Party under the leadership of Peter Obi, the last general elections, was largely unexpected by the political class and the political watchers generally in Nigeria and abroad. Now, given that, the kind of issues, leadership issues and crises that the Labour Party began to experience immediately after the general elections was not completely unexpected.
Okay.
Yes. First is that this is a young party that have not had such attention, have not grown themselves over time like the other 2 leading political parties, to be able to handle the structure of leadership at the national scale and to host a candidate of and attention of P2B stature. So all that brought all manner of pressures on the party, given also that it is also possible that the other parties might be interested or might be sponsoring part of this crisis within the party. But all that said, at the initial stages of the crisis, P2B seemed to be a bit withdrawn. In fact, many persons felt that he was not moving quickly enough to resolve the issues in the party. And I guess he was allowing space for the party to resolve his own problems without him imposing his will. But this is coming, this is highly commendable for me.
Do you think it's belated?
No, I don't think it's belated. I don't think it's belated at all. It is highly commendable from several points. One, given that P2B and the governor of Abia State
Otti
are working together and have set the agenda together. That sends a sign.
Yes.
On the other hand, too, this is almost like a mini convention because the extent of the invitations are expansive. You can see that they have taken everybody in the leadership into consideration. And whatever they agree now, it will be difficult for any arm to validly fight against it and still get good followership. So
question is, do you see the Julius Abure-led executives honoring this meeting?
Well, if they fail to honor the meeting, the party should be in a position to take appropriate decisions against them. I mean, nobody should become indispensable or become so powerful. If they fail to honor the meeting, it means that they have issues to hide.
Now, the argument would be that they are the ones who, are empowered or who have the right to call for stakeholders meeting. They are the ones who have the right to call for any meeting in any capacity at the national level of Labour Party. What do you have to say to that?
In a state where there is already crisis, there is limited legitimacy by any of the organs. This kind of group that encompasses everybody becomes superior to any arm because whatever their claims are, they are now sectional. They no longer have the following of the entire party. So they cannot continue to claim that. They need to subject themselves to these discussions and allow the will of the party to reign. Otherwise, they could actually be accused of being a fifth columnist within the party.
Interesting.
Yes.
Associate Prof, what is your take on this story?
Yeah, first, let me say that for us in the social sciences, we believe that conflict is natural. But what is important is how that conflict is resolved. We are aware of the fact that crisis in the Labour Party has lingered for a very long time. And now that it appears we have relative stability, my thinking is that all relevant stakeholders should see how to manage that, midwife that party to reality. It shouldn't be a situation where at this point in time you are beginning to rekindle old wound. I think that you have centrality of governance. In public administration, you have that hierarchy, and everybody has his own role and responsibilities to, play or discharge. And given the fragility of the Labour Party as it is now, I was thinking that the personalities of P2B and other people should have found a more diplomatic means of handling the party affairs. Yes, there's nothing wrong in having a stakeholders meeting. Sometimes you do the right thing at the wrong time. Okay. And if you do the right thing at the wrong time, you may not have the expected results. If at the national level we have managed to stabilize, at least Abure is now the national chairman, whether other people like it or not, or whether they believe on it. But I think there's relative stability now, which I was thinking that all the relevant stakeholders in that party will help to stabilize more. Then you also consider the fact that if you as...
he emerged.
Okay, yeah, he emerged now.
Emerged as the national excuse of Labour Party under very controversial circumstances.
That's what I'm saying. So at this point, there is still that fragility. And I was thinking that personalities like P2B and the Abia State governor should have handled that matter more diplomatically. Because if you are a chairman, whether rightly or wrongly, and you have overseeing the affairs of the party, there are statutory functions, like I talked about hierarchy in an organization. There are functions that the national chairman should be able to also perform, especially at this point where, there's the belief, or he has the belief that, look, I need to stabilize. So any other thing that is not coming, or I'm not seem to be performing my duties, will look as if they have come again. So I was thinking that, I don't know whether P2B and the Abia State governor have done that, to maybe give a suggestion to the national chairman and say, look, these are the things we need to do at this point in time, probably to strengthen our party and then have a very formidable grassroots mobilization, So they should have suggested that, and let it also come from, the National Party chairman to say, well, we have deliberated on the advice given to us by, and this, we're trying to also see how that we can organize a national convention or anything that will strengthen our party. From the list and the members who are to attend that meeting, I see inclusivity, right? Touching on all relevant stakeholders. Yes. That is the heart of democracy. But then it must come from the right channel. It don't go at the back and then begin to convene such an important meeting when the national chairman and his ESCO are not part of it. So
they are part of it. The invite was also extended.
No, you can invite, but his idea originally coming from them.
Now,
are they subscribing to that idea?
Okay.
Remember, not losing sight of the fact that they are just coming out of the woods.
Okay, now when you look at it critically,
yes.
First of all, the Abure-led faction had issues with the Apapa-led faction.
Good.
And much later, the court judgment was in the favor of the Abure-led faction. And after that, another set now emerged and said that there was a court judgment some years back that actually recognized them by an order. And going by that order, it is subsisting. That particular issue has not been resolved. It's still there in the oven.
Yeah.
Mr. Okafor, if you recall, that's the name of the man.
Okay.
It's still on. It goes off after a while. Mr. Okafor will rekindle it and come back again. He has his own group of persons, and they are aiming for the national leadership of Labour Party, and they have a court judgment to back them up, according to them. Now, on the other hand, the same Abure-led faction now has Okafor to contend with, Okafor-led executive to contend with, and now he is also contending with the Nigerian Labour Congress. You will recall.
Yeah.
And Nigerian Labour Congress also set up a transition committee. When you look at all these things, stakeholders are having issues. Some persons, even at the state level, even in Edo State upcoming elections, some of the obedience moved to support APC, as it were. So now, as it is, yes, the Abure-led executives are there, but the party is balkanized. And within the window of these issues, back and forth, the Abure-led executive have been unable to resolve this crisis internally. Now, if there are persons like the former presidential candidate and Alex Otti, they are probably, according to their gentleman agreement, the highest in hierarchy in the political party. Are they not well within their rights in the interest of lasting peace? Not forgetting that 2027 presidential general elections is coming up. In the interest of the general elections, in the interest of the party, in the interest of cohesion, seeing that Abure has failed to use the internal mechanism to reconcile warring factions, even himself is embattled, what would you expect these people to do at this point? Do you even see Abure calling a meeting of this nature for reconciliation? If you see him doing it, why hasn't he done it since?
Well, you see, we cannot continue to walk in confusion. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And first thing first. First thing is that the issue of leadership at the national level must be settled before any other thing can follow. Because I tell you, in the hierarchy of court system in Nigeria, like you just mentioned a court order many years ago. And I know that if a lower court gives an order and that judgment is appealed to a higher court and the higher court sets aside that order, it stands. So the order you had 100 years back will not stand.
It has not been vacated.
Or if it has not been vacated.
If it has not been vacated, it's still subsisting.
So if that order has not vacated, so what happened to this other one that cleared Abure? Are we working in a banana republic? And that's part of the problem we are referring to judiciary, if that is true. Because you just mentioned to us that now that a court has cleared Abure as the national chairman of the party. So if that is the case, I want to believe that that is a substituting order. So if that is a substituting order, then why is the other people coming up to say we are now in charge, we are still in charge, referring to
a judgment that was not vacated?
Well, if that judgment bearing on leadership, I wonder what the court did. I wonder the prayers of Abure and other people in the court.
The issue was not between Abure and the Okafor-led executive. The issue was between Abure and the Apapa-led faction. The court will only grant you prayers that you have said before it.
Okay.
You understand?
Fine. Fine. You know how this court system works when lawyers in there. you know that they always make references. If there is a substantial issue on leadership and you have other faction, and I think that should also be brought to the attention of the court, because the court cannot give partial judgment, partial ruling, when they know that there is another faction on leadership. Because if a present court...
Probably that the court does not know that.
The court was not aware. It was not
so if the court is not aware, and there is a substituting order of a court, I don't know whether this one is higher than the other one that gave the order. If this one is a higher court, that means the one giving 100 years wait should be vacated, and that's how the court system operates in Nigeria. I don't know which one is higher, which one is lower, but you can't have the same court giving conflicting rulings on the same matter. So for now, what we are aware of, and then you also don't lose sight of the fact that in the judicial system, in law, that's what is called status bar. Sometimes, if you are expected to take action within 2 weeks, and you didn't take that action within 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, the law does not recognize the action anymore. So that could be. So if this present court has cleared Julius Abure and his ESCO, then that's what they want. That's the substituting order. And so if anybody want to do anything at this point in time, they must have recourse to the national chairman.
All right.
You just wake up one morning and begin. And that will also give the impression that, look, we are just coming from this thing. It appears to us that these other people, they are not recognizing us. I mean, that will be the possible interpretation by the Julius Abure ESCO. So if you are not recognizing us, by not consulting us, or by not allowing us to do what we are supposed to do, and then it means that the battle is still on.
All right.
And you cannot achieve any meaningful thing without stabilizing the center. The center must be stabilized.
All right. Dr. Nelson, isn't that the move that P2B and Otti is making right now to stabilize the center?
I agree there is a move to stabilize the center. I've read a couple of interviews by P2B before now, responding to insinuations that he's been too quiet over the issues at the center. And his responses alluding to the fact that he will not have to intervene in public, more to say that he's been involved and trying to do those things informally and all that. So for them to get to this level, it means that legality has failed. The courts are not able to rein in the crisis, given that after the Supreme Court judgment, there are still other issues and other conflicts. And this is a time when political intervention, settlements, negotiations, concessions can be made. And obviously, that stands better than using legality where you at the adversarial court system where there are winners and losers. Politics is able to more better negotiate consensus. And given the expanse of the invitees in this meeting, this is more like a mini national convention.
Yes.
The only thing lacking now is that you don't have elected representatives from all the zones all over the country. And they should come to an agreement at this level. Let's hope that Labour can put itself together after this meeting. Because Nigerians actually want to see that.
Nigerians are hoping that Labour will actually be the third force in this.
Yes.
All right.